In case you missed it this week, 3 senators from here in Nova Scotia are calling for the immediate launch of a joint federal-provincial inquiry into the mass shootings and related matters in Nova Scotia. Of course, that happened in the middle of April. And my next guest is one of those 3 senators. Senator Stan Kutcher, of course, is an independent senator from Nova Scotia, and he joins me live via Zoom this morning. Senator Kutcher, thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me. A privilege and a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Yes, no problem. We've only got 5 minutes, so we'll get right into it. I know there has been calls for this inquiry for weeks now from members of the family who've lost loved ones in this. Very impassioned one last week from the daughter of Heather O'Brien, the VON nurse. So I guess why now for you 3 senators to also make the calls to try to get this over the finish line?
Well, we've been clearly monitoring the situation since the terrible mass murder, which is what it was, occurred. As independent senators representing this province, it's our duty to help speak for the province, and we have been talking amongst ourselves about the different ways that we need to move forward, and we just felt that now is the time. It's been a couple of months, almost a couple of months since this occurred, and it's time that there was a clear signal from the federal government and from the provincial government about what their intention is, and that's what we were asking for.
There has been a lot of back and forth on who needs to get the ball rolling, the province or the federal government. I know the family members are frustrated by that as well. When this all gets going, what would you like to see? And I guess that's my question. Yeah, what would you like to see happen here?
Well, we would like to see a joint inquiry with the province and the federal government working together to ensure that there aren't jurisdictional barriers in the way of asking the questions and finding the answers that we need to have. I think that this is a wonderful opportunity to show how federalism in Canadian context can work well, and that the strengths and capabilities that are within the federal government can be complementary to the strengths and capabilities that are within the provincial government, and that the various jurisdictions overlapping and complementary to each other, working together, I think that is what will give us the answers that we need to have.
It's been a couple days now as well, Senator, since you released this call. Have you heard back from Minister Furey, Minister Blair? It sounds to me in the media that something is going to happen in the next couple days. Do you know anything this morning that you can tell us?
I don't have any inside information to share with you and your viewers. Our offices have been in touch. We are expecting to hear formally back from each of the ministers present.
And also, in public inquiries, there's kind of twofold things. You want to know what happened over that 13, 15-hour stretch, the awful tragedy, how it unfolded, but also what we can learn from that. It sounds to me like the RCMP probably there are going to be recommendations on their public service emergency alert system, also maybe ram bars on the front of vehicles. But when it comes from the feminist lens and the domestic violence side of this, what recommendations do you hope you see from that? How do we learn from that side of things?
Well, intimate partner violence is not a new phenomenon. Intimate partner violence is something that has both short-term and long-term lasting effects for the individual involved, but also if there are children involved, for children involved. It has really one of those things that we have known about, and it seems to have reared its head in this situation as well. Yeah. So I think that as a society, as we are resetting, going forward from this pandemic situation, it gives us an opportunity to bring a fresh perspective again at this nagging and persistent problem. And it seems to have had a role, and I say seems because we need to know in more detail and more depth in how this unfolded, not just during the time of this mass shooting, but also in the time coming up to this in months and maybe even years. We don't know. So let's get a handle on this problem as well. How much did it contribute to what we actually experienced here? And what can we learn from the potential warning signs that seem to have been there prior to this? Let's deal with this issue. It's about time. It's about time we dealt with this issue.
Speaking of time, I'm running out of it, but maybe even just a yes or no on this one. Lenore Zann in the Globe and Mail, I was reading last night, she's the MP for the region, says she'd like to see the same, inquiry stipulations you guys are asking for, but she'd like to see a woman take the helm of the investigation. 10 or 15 seconds on that. I know it's tough, but...
I think it's a reasonable request. I think what we want to make sure is that the inquiry is done in the most fulsome and comprehensive manner, and that whether it's led by one person or co-led, that we get the answers we need to have.
All right, very good. Thanks so much for the insight, as always. We really appreciate it. We look forward to your tweets and your insight on this as we move forward. Senator Stan Kutcher, appreciate the time.
And thank you very much. And best to you and your family as we reset our society.
That's right.